A big welcome to John Sunde, and this is our Tuesday night wrap up for the penultimate week. We've got 1 week left, John.
We certainly have, and it's come very quickly. And I guess that happens when you lose 3 weeks to Sydney's recent La Nina. Or was it the El Nina? I can't remember. It's come around very quickly and very exciting, though. Finale to the season, condensed into the last 2 weeks towards the end of March. So next week promises to be exciting.
It does. Okay, so John, the program for today, we're going to start by talking about the results of the race last week. We'll do across the line. We'll also have a look at Ollie Penny's video, and what a video, as it is every week. The point series, who's potentially going to win, and the memorial race. Do we have a date? We'll find out when we get there. And next week, what's happening next week, John? With last week's results, John Curdy for wins, Tom Bolton second, a solid sprint, Scott Law, brilliant work. That wraps up the series. We'll talk about that. And Millsy in fourth. How good's Millsy?
Yeah, Millsy, another top five. I guess when you don't work, things go your way. You've got lots of energy left at the end of the day.
You're a bit cheeky there, mate. Brad Mills,
very
impressive, very impressive.
He's having a week off.
Anyone else stand out there, bro, in any of the grades?
Well, we're just focusing on the A-grade results, which was the overall results. I thought on Tuesday night that the emphasis or the favour was always leaning towards the Olivers squad. They had Kurt Ether, Tom Bolton, DeVrage, Gruel, and Edwin Britz. There were four of them. I think I've covered everybody. And so they were always going to be hard to beat. And of course, no Jack Bennett on Tuesday night. Jack had a bit of a sore throat, so he didn't race.
You know what sore throat means these days, mate?
Yeah. Well, apparently, Alaphilippe's got bronchitis.
Okay, with four Oliver's riders, equaling to about 12 and a half riders in the bunch in power. Stand out for me, I'm going straight to C grade. Ben Hawkins, congratulations, and Nicole O. Why those two riders? They hung in there when the B graders got there, and then they hung in there when the A graders got there.
Yeah, they were the only two finishers in that sort of main group. And the other thing about just focusing on Ben Hawkins for a minute, quite unique that B grade winner Ben Glastonbury from Cheeky Racing and Ben Hawkins from Cheeky Racing. So you had the Ben and the Cheeky Racing double in
I called them Bill and Ben, the cheeky men.
Okay. And what about Ben and Ben, the cheeky men?
No, because I'm doing a throwback to your days on TV, ABC TV. Weird. Not everybody will get that. Okay, you weird, didn't you, John? Okay, let's move on.
Say that again?
Nothing, mate. Let's move on. Across the line, this is where we do it with gaps. And look for your name. And there was a gap after the four riders, and we go back to Edward Britz with his hands in the air. John, anything standing out as we go along?
Yeah, well, a couple of things stood out. Firstly, those top nine, the top five, or top four were up for the sprint. A bit of a gap back to Cam. He's always in the mix, but interesting to note that he had edged in front of Crido, because normally you'd expect Crido to be a little bit further up towards the pointy end in the top sort of 3 or 4. Malachi Covington, good ride again. He's been delivering some consistent results. Chris Ling, no surprises there. He's always in the mix. And a bit of a gap, so Edwin sat up there because he knows his two teammates have won. And then, of course, you've got a group of B graders. I also wanted to give a bit of shout out to Chris Collins. Chris has come back to racing after being a fairly prominent junior in his day out of Parramatta. This is his first summer on a regular basis at Heffron. And he's been racing quite a bit locally around the weekend races, whether it's up at Mounties races, northern suburbs, Randwick on a Saturday, and getting consistent results. So there's another consistent result for him. The other thing, I also just wanted to mention Steve Myers in that group, another consistent B-grade performer. But when we get to Ollie's video, I think Ollie was into that corner of the straight second wheel. And there he is, 21st across the line. So it gives you an idea how much.
I did it again. I'm pretty amateur on this, and as I said on our very first week, we're going to get better at it. My apologies. But
well, can I point out, Crafty, that
yeah.
I think I am better already, but you need to catch up.
Yeah, I'll get far out. Yeah, okay. Check this out. 54th place and a long way behind Michael Cupid. As you preluded to the video, he features in it, doesn't he?
Oh, he certainly does.
And that
so
54th
don't ever look at ever look at those results across the line and think, oh, Michael Cupid, he didn't try very hard.
Yeah, bullshit. That is awesome. That is freaking awesome. And the fact that he finished 54th is telling what he did on that. Like, that is so cool. Yeah, it does matter where you finish, but it doesn't tell the whole story. And like, for instance, big congratulations to these two riders here, Brie Playall and Rose Vassell. They sprinted it out, as we know. Basically, with 2 laps to go, you'll hear the bell go. Kate Morrissey there. Who's this? Can you see? Oh, that's Fraser, is it?
No, it looks like is it Crudo?
Okay.
No, it's not Crudo. It's oh, I've lost them. So this is coming down to crossing the finish line, 2 laps to go. So you're not going to hear the bell, Crafty, for another lap. And if you think the race is together, not quite true, because at this point, I think there were 3 or 4 B graders that were still off the front. And there's one of them, 1, 2, 4, just being caught. I think that's Dylan Ether. It's Phil Lucas, number 27.
Yeah, there they are. There.
Yeah, and there's the B graders just about to be passed, just after the toilet block, going into the toilet block corner, and you'll see Chris Simpson.
Just hold there.
So there's the bunch. Phil no, I think it's Jeff Rickard's on the front. They've just come through the corner at the end of the straight, and there's 3 B graders just about to be caught.
4.
Steve Mars on the front.
4.
The 4th one had already just
incorrect.
There's only 3 sets. There's only 3 sets of wheels there, Crafty.
Well, who's this guy here?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I couldn't see the full set of wheels. So the 4 riders, and this wasn't. There were 2 breaks, in fact. The first break included Alex Galea, Ben Treble, and Liam Kelly. And then the composition of the break changed a little bit because Steve Myers got across to it, and that's him on the front. You can see Ben Treble's shoulders, which always stand out.
Darren Perry was in there for a while.
Sorry?
Darren Perry was in there for a while.
Darren Perry was in there for a while as well.
Callum was in there, Callum Butterworth?
No, you're thinking of Henry Beard.
Okay.
Was in there for a while. And there's Alex Galea in the blue shoes, and just sitting on the back is Chris Simpson. So they were the last 4 to be caught. And there's the bunch coming on the second to last lap.
And if you can see my mouse, I'm pointing at the camera.
There's the camera. That's where the action's originating from.
Yeah.
So Phil Lucas is sitting about, I don't know, 7 or 8 wheels back here. No, a little bit. No, 7 or 8 wheels back. And chatting to Phil after the race, he said he launched it early. And the reason he launched it early, he felt it was starting to slow down a little bit. So this is heading in towards the last lap. Just at the top end of the squircle, there's Chris Simpson just being passed. Phil is, 6 wheels back there.
There's Treble.
There's Ben Treble just being passed.
And I think one of them slotted in at about 3rd wheel. So well done there. You said
maybe that's why it started to slow down.
Maybe. You said Phil launched it. Mate.
Phil launches it just heading over towards. So see, Phil's sitting, but he's now people like there's Malachi
moving
from
up
behind. So
and in a second, you'll see Credo come up too.
Yeah,
there's
starting to slow down a bit, and then Phil's getting swamped from riders behind, and he says, "Nah, I'm not having any of this." First pimple on the outside, bang.
Mate, that wasn't launching. That was a bazooka, and it was armor piercing. It absolutely caned it through that gap.
He did. So Ollie's latched onto him because that's where the content is coming from off his camera. Phil's got his head down. It's really interesting watching him pedal and ride through these corners. I don't know what he's looking around for. Has a bit of a rest here. just stops pedaling to get a bit of a freewheel, into it again, hits the U-turn before the straight, and he has to get out of the saddle here because he can't hold that sort of power over that rise. You'll see him get out of the saddle in a minute. There he goes. So he's trying to, once again, pick up some more power, more speed, sits down again, hits the straight. Remember, the wind is coming from the left. So where's he going to ride? He's going to ride towards the right-hand side. And there he goes.
Yep, but he's giving enough. He's giving enough. Here's the elbow flick.
What he wants Ollie to come over it because he's launched. And you got to remember, at this stage, halfway down the straight, he's running out of juice.
Okay, so we're running out now. Watch
boom. And then Mick Cupid says, "Right, I'm going to go," and off he goes like you said, a bazooka.
And check this out, Ollie's new name is Ollie Selly's No More Gaps. He fills the gap. He is filling the gap. Now the video is about to jump to the pimple in a second, and Ollie is still in second wheel. Cupid still at the front. Here we go over the last pimple, and we're on the last lap. And he's at the front. Remember, he finished 54th.
That's right. So Ollie, by the way, has been in the same position for the entire last 2 laps of the race, second wheel. Yeah. So he's run now. So Ollie then says, "Right, I'm going. I mean, I've got to go. I can't go back further." So he leads it into the U-turn. This is the hardest part of the whole race because of the sprint. Is because if you use your bickies here, you get to the straight and you've got nothing left. And this is exactly what happens to Ollie. So he's still on the front. He's driving it down to the straight. Remember, he's at his max. Well, he's already been at his max for the last 2 laps. Swings to the left because he knows, oh no, he swings to the right because he knows they're going to hit him. And then there's Kurt Ethergo with Scott Law on his wheel, Tom on his wheel, and they go bang, 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 bang. And there's the last, there's where that gap is with Chris Ling just tagging onto the back. And there's Edwin Britz in the Oliver's kit. And there's those Peppard 3 or 4 big.
And Braden Block as well. Look, John, mate, when I watch these videos, I know how to ride a bike. I know I can handle my bike, but this shit looks absolutely frightening. I'm not sure if it's the video angle. They're going through the corners so fast. They're taking the straight. What takes me a minute to ride the straight, they're doing it in 30 seconds. I guess it's probably a little bit different being in the bunch, but it looks frightening.
It does when you're looking at it, but when you're on the wheel and you're at that point in the race, you're in the top 6 and it's the last lap, all you're doing is following what's happening in front of you. And if you've got something left in your tank, you're then thinking to yourself, right, what am I going to do? When am I going to make my move? And clearly, guys like Tom Bolton and Kurt Ether and Scott Law, they're in that position because they've got something left. But most riders have got nothing left and are just following the wheel and holding on for dear life.
John, I'm going to go forward just to the moment. This is Cupid attacking. This is Ollie Penny, right? Yeah. And I'm going to show you.
No more gaps, Ollie.
No more Sellies or no more gaps. He fills that gap. But I want to show you something. This is with a bell to go. A lap to go. Have a look at the lineup. Ready? Ollie, we saw him coming into the straight first. They are over 2 and a bit kilometers away from the finish. Tom Bolton, Scott Law, Kurt Ether. Now, what order did they pass Ollie in the straight? Tom Bolton, Scott Law, Kurt Ether. That's the way they fired into the straight. This lineup, from this point onwards, with Cupid at the front, no one could move.
No, because they're just holding the wheel.
Yeah. Everybody back here, and there's Edwin Britz. It just straight lined from this point onwards, and these are already the riders that were finishing what ended up about 20, 30 seconds down.
Hey, just stay on that.
Good looking photo, that one. You want to go back?
Just go back to that previous photo? Yeah.
Sure.
I just want to a little bit of a shout out to the 5th rider in that group of C graders there. His first Tuesday night race is Ben Dewhurst. And
he looks comfortable.
That name. Well, if that name sounds familiar, his father, Neil, who raced in the 80s and early 90s in Heffron and was almost unbeatable. If Spurge was the king, Neil Dewhurst wasn't far off.
Yeah, well, okay. And John Sunde's always been the joker. The Sydney City Skoda point scores. Scott Law, congratulations. He's won it. It can't be beaten. Second, third, and fourth is up for grabs. B grade, Braden Blocks won it. Can't be beaten. Congratulations, Braden. Scott has won the A grade jersey, but John, C grade and the women undecided as of yet.
Certainly are. Just before we touch on C grade and the woman, shout out to Braden for winning B grade. I think it's the first time that someone's actually won B grade after having moved up to a higher grade. In this case, Braden's moved to A grade, but he amassed those 3 wins convincingly. And the other thing about the B grade point score is the nature of the winners in B grade. They tend to change each week. They're not that consistent. Apart from Braden's results, you can see there's a big gap going into the last week. Back to Bolterini, who was the only guy, or him and Rowley were the only 2 riders that could have threatened Braden's lead, because Rowley had birthday commitments with his wife on Tuesday night, so he didn't race. But hypothetically, had either of those riders won Tuesday night and the last round, they would have picked up 6 points and they would have just nudged Braden, but not to be. So on to C grade. So for the second year in a row, we've got a female leading C grade, which I think is just an outstanding result. In this case, this year with Nicole O, she's on equal points with Kai.
Yeah, is she leading?
She is leading on the basis. This is the John Sunde countback method, on the basis that Kai has now moved to B grade. I'm deferring to her because she's the one that's in the running.
This is the John Sunde. I'll make it up as I go along.
Well, no, not really. I can go and do a countback on their places. I still think Nicole will be in front. But the great thing is that tremendous to see a female leading C grade. The only person that can threaten her is Ben Hawkins. So if Ben was to win C grade next Tuesday night, he'd pick up 3 points, puts him on 8. If Nicole was to get third, she'd pick up a point. Then on a countback, possibly Ben might nudge in front.
Okay, yeah. Listen, mate, do us a favor. Have the countback written down somewhere so people can see it and know.
It'll be published. It'll be published before the race on Tuesday night.
I appreciate that. Look, I've always go with the UCI standard for points racing, which is the highest place on the last sprint, and that is across the line on the final night. And if they don't turn up and they get equal points, we'll give it to the person that's there because they were the highest place. Can't really get equal points in that way, but we differ in our approaches. Mine's a little bit more simple than your. Oh, we count how many first.
Mine's scientific, Crafty.
Scientific, my ass. It's you make
not
it
true.
up. You
do not. Never made anything up in my life.
What about the women? Is Nicole?
I think Nicole's in the driver's seat there. She's only got to finish equal. She just got to finish
the base because the women have been light in 2022.
Yeah, they have been. And inconsistent as well. What I mean by that is, I think Rose and Nicole are most probably the most consistent. Kira Will, she's been there regularly, but Bree was first time racing for a few weeks. Josie's been around, but not very often.
Straight away, the catchment pool for racing on Tuesday nights, because the lowest grade being C grade, the intensity is really quite high. You need to be A grade, state A grade level woman to really participate at that level. And that instantly cuts a very small pool down to even shorter pool.
It does.
The memorial races, John, of obvious reasons, it rained a little at Heffron Park. It rained a lot, didn't it?
It certainly did. I just want to touch, normally, historically, we have 11 races before Christmas, 11 races after Christmas. On the basis that next week is round 6, plus we had next week is round 6. We've lost 5 races this year in January, February, March. So it gives you an idea of how much pressure or how much rain and how much we've been affected by the weather. So the plan now is to have it on Easter Saturday at Heffron. We just got to confirm that, and details will follow after next week's final round.
So stay tuned, I guess. And next week at Heffron Park, the forecast looks fantastic. It's the final round. We're going to decide some jerseys. We're going to drink some refreshments afterwards, and we're going to have a good night. Yeah?
We certainly are. And the season finale is just a great vibe for everybody. Spectators, riders, helpers, organisers. It's just a great night to come down, chill, watch some racing, and reflect on a great season.
And we're going to have just enough light to finish in daylight as well.
We certainly are. Well, if it's a sunny day, we'll be okay. If it's cloudy or dull, we'll be pushed. And that's why we're going to conclude racing on the 22nd.
Yep. Well, John, on behalf of John Sunde, thanks for watching, and see you next Tuesday at Heffron Park.
Look forward to it, Crafty.